Hey guys, it's xNira with another banner review, this time for Nohrian Summer. First, we're going to talk about Elise, the tropical flower. Her weapon, Hibiscus Tome, as with all of the others, grants 1 attack and speed to allies within 2 spaces during combat, so it's a super weak drive attack speed that will likely not make a difference. Plus, the new tomes only have 12 might, so Delphia's 14 might Dark Aura Tome with a Hone or Rally is a far more effective support tome, and a Blade Tome would be the obvious offensive tome. Speaking of offensive, Elise and Nino have the exact same growths and only minor differences. Elise has 1 more HP, 3 more attack, 2 less speed, 1 less defense, and 1 more resistance. Since the categories that matter for Blade Tome users are attack and speed, the question becomes, is less speed a good trade-off for more attack? In my opinion, no. Blade Tomes aren't exactly lacking in damage with proper support, and being able to outspeed is way worth 2 less attack. You'll have to send home a Nino anyways to get Ground Blade on her, so unless you hate Nino with a deep and fiery passion like I do, Elise is a fine substitute that I'll be using. But Nino still remains queen of the Green Blade Tome users due to convenience, but also superior, albeit very minor, stat distribution. Moving on to her passives, speed and res +2 is okay. I could see it being used as like a fury substitute doing something like Tempest Trials, where the 6 damage after combat is a little too draining if you don't bring a healer, especially given Elise's very small HP pool. Otherwise, Fury Desperation seems like the obvious AB slot combination. Green Tome Valor is also kind of, convenient, but it's not a combat ability, so you'll want to put something else like a Hone or Fortify on her. Since her stats aren't really good enough to put Res Ploy or any other ploy ability, Threaten abilities also would be okay, but you're going to have to position her very carefully because her defenses are super underwhelming. Next up is Xander, the Student Swimmer. You can now field a fully balanced melee weapon Xander team. So IS, when's Healer, Archer, or Mage Xander coming out? Anyways, his weapon is again fairly underwhelming, but Xander kind of has the interesting conundrum of having no other really obvious other builds to go for. He's not a great Brave Axe user since we just got Summer Tiki, who has 4 more attack and more to balance defensive stats. If you're going for the Infantry Brave Axe Cherche clone, Emerald Axe is, in my opinion, most useful as a counter to Blue Mages, and Xander clearly doesn't have the resistance for that. Killer Axe seems kind of stupid since the possibility of a Slaying Axe being released is pretty good. So at the very least you'd want to hold off, but even then, the uniqueness of reduced special cooldown isn't really all that unique now with Quicken Pulse and Infantry Pulse. Silver Axe would be okay, but we've seen a fair bit of might power creep. Why would you run a 15 might Silver Axe when you could run 14 might Melon Crusher that is really a 16 might weapon on the first hit along with other nice bonuses? So this leaves the more difficult to get weapons being Carrot Axe, Legion's Axe, and as mentioned, Melon Crusher. Legion's Axe is not super good in the 1-round KO meta, which leaves Carrot and Melon Crusher. They're not bad options, but they're kind of, difficult since if you don't already have those units, you're kind of screwed. Carrot Axe Fury is pretty nice, and with the kind of rise of these longer drawn-out battles and chain challenges and Tempest Trials, the +4 heal is very nice, and you could swap out Fury for Fire Boost so that the heal actually heals and doesn't just mitigate the Fury chip. Melon Crusher is also nice, whether you go Fury to double down or something else like Death Blow. As far as passives, Fire Boost, isn't a terrible option, especially given that you'll want to run an HP seal to take advantage of this new C passive Infantry Pulse, which reduces the cooldown of adjacent infantry allies at the start of the fight by 1 if he has 1 or more HP. This is very, very cool. For one, the gimmick of a killer or slaying weapon plus Quicken Pulse plus a 5-turn cooldown ability now can be reduced to 2 with just Infantry Pulse. So that's great, and if you're not doing that gimmick thing, then you could also just, make your units do more damage faster with their specials. But I'm still hyped for that new Gale Force meta, that 2-turn Gale Force meta. We've also got Seashore's Prince Leo with the juicy meme Tomato Tome. He falls into the slow nuker category, which as a red unit puts him up against a lot of competition in Sanaki and Linlina, both of whom have a whopping 5 more base attack than he does. He is the fastest of the 3, beating Sanaki by 1, and has the highest res, but if you're a slow nuker, you want your nukes to hurt, and he just can't hold up to the other 2. Sanaki's base kit also conveniently comes with Triangle Adept for that easy transition into Rothraven, and she's also got the Hone attack utility. That being said, Leo's base kit isn't awful. Iceberg is certainly the best special on him with 35 res, and he'll likely be able to get the attack point block with that high res. Unfortunately, attack isn't exactly the stat you want to be debuffing, so you'll have to inherit res ploy or possibly defense ploy, allowing him to kind of you know, enable his physical frontline to do more damage. Seal resistance is also just asking to be replaced. This is just to say, Leo is pretty underwhelming, with inferior stat distribution and nothing really unique in his kit to offset that. Finally, we've got female Corin, the Novice Vacationer, now the second flying mage after Spin Camilla. Notably, Corin has 9 more speed than Camilla. She, of course, compensates for 9 more speed and 7 more res by having less HP, less attack, and less defense, but, you know, with that 34 speed, she will be able to play more like other Blade Tome users, that is to say, like, you know, fast glass cannons. So I don't think she'll be hands down like a better mage for flyer cons, so she'll just play very differently. You know, with close counter, Camilla could do all sorts of kind of cool things, and, you know, as a glass cannon, Corin will too, but just differently. Swift Strike is alright, and like Elise with that speed and res +2, you could run it in Tempest Trials when you don't want the Chip of Fury or the high risk, high reward play of Life and Death, but likely one of these two will be the best choices to further push that glass cannon build. Fortified Flyers is actually, you know, I think kind of nice. Yes, it would have been super nice to see another source of home flyers, but then you'd have to pull 2 Corins so that you could send one home to put home flyers on a different unit so that they could buff Corin. But Fortified Flyers is nice because, you know, it encourages using her in a flyer team, and you don't have to pull 2 to fully abuse the home speed. On the other hand, you do have to, you know, pull a Hinoka, so what can I say? All that being said about Blade Tome Flyers, I still anticipate that red Blade Tome Flyers will be, typing-wise, better, since the red melee flyers are so weak, and for blue and green we've already got very good units. You know, blue Corin is very difficult to situate on a flyer team, since she'll probably have to replace Cordelia, or she'll also compete with coming soon Volter with the Cursed Lance. So these are my thoughts about the new units, and I hope this was a useful review. Thanks so much for watching, and consider subscribing for more Fire Emblem content. Now, I also want to add a little announcement at the end of this video, since I'm like nearing on my next subscriber milestone of 1200 subs, and I was thinking about doing a Q&A, so if you got questions other than why my Xander runs Killer Lance, please comment on the video or check out my Discord link below, where you can also submit questions for that. So again, thanks very much for watching.